Yeah.
Dog barking live. Yep. Where's everybody?
I don't know.
Someone's buzzing. We might have to turn somebody's sound down.
Am I
Is that
too loud?
Tyler?
Am I too loud?
I don't
On
know.
me. The dog was me. The buzz was not me.
Turn down the buzz a little bit. What's up, people? Come in the chat. Hello, 3 viewers. 3 people
Yeah,
watching.
people are right on.
I
it.
used to be worried about like saying how many people are watching. And then I realized that you can see it on the YouTube channel.
Oh, really?
People are watching it. So who cares? 3 people watching. Hello, Renata. Turn down my volume. I don't like this. If there is a buzz or a hum. Actually, it stopped now that you moved your mic. No, stop. It doesn't matter. Pull your mic back. That was weird. Technical difficulties, everyone. Is that better now? Yeah, that's
I
better.
don't know. Is it better?
Yeah. What's up, Nate?
Oh, Nate, you're on time today. I love it.
On time. He's at work. Oh my
I'm
god.
just kidding. Because last week he's like, "Oh, what's going on?"
God. Like he's like, you got nothing else better to do.
No, I'm just saying it because I like when
Yeah,
he's in
yeah.
the call because he razzes you. So I
I
like
appreciate him on, but he's also got when you're on time. Like it's like scheduling a meeting.
it. He should be.
Weird. It says 246 people are watching live. Does it really? That's cool.
Nice.
No way. There's no way. it's-
Lying.
Hey, whatever. Okay. All right. Structure and stimulus matter. We're going to talk about it today. I was hoping Hartley would get on. We miss him. RIP, sir. I don't know where he is. Or what he's doing. I know he's living that thug life, though, out there. They got, hey, if you guys are out there, Arsenal Fitness in Colorado, they got a lifting competition for funsies, clean and bench press.
Ooh.
It's going to be fun. Check them out if you're out there in the DTC area of Colorado.
When's that? On Sunday or Saturday or when?
I don't actually know. That's why I didn't
I
want
think
to
it's
say.
Friday.
Friday? What?
Yeah.
Let's not do that to him. Let's look
No.
up the actual day. I'll look right now. Well, actually, no. I was just trying to, because I think it's cool.
Nice.
Should we do something like that at our gym?
Yeah.
Nah.
Why not?
Friday night, lift off. Teams of 2, 1 are at max clean, 1 are at max bench press. That's smart. Teams of 2, because now you have a spotter.
Yeah.
Smart. 5 to 8 p.m. Go check them out. Arsenal
It's like Max Out Friday. I love
DTC.
it.
Arsenal_DTC on Instagram.
Mm.
Yeah, it's cool. Got a little something for everybody, right? Cleans, bench press. We do here on Saturdays. We switched it up now to do a 9 a.m. weightlifting class instead of a CrossFit class. And come January, that class will turn into a 9 a.m. gymnastics class. And then I have the idea for the next one too, which I won't spoil it. I'm happy about it.
I'm glad.
We're just gonna do burpees. I'm gonna spoil it. Just kidding.
Remember the time
not
at
burpees.
Sundown when we did like you made the classes do like what
I was
it?
at Curry.
Oh, was it? Oh, I thought it was
Yep.
Sundown.
No, that was at Curry. I had them do 300 burpees.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Why?
cool. We
That
ran
was
a
their
whole
class.
progression. It
Um,
was,
I
it-
was experimenting during that time a lot.
listen, yeah, that's how you learn.
I know. That's why we did 300 burpees.
You have a whole cohort of people. Like when people are like, oh, my study had 58 people.
Mhm.
Well, my study had 158. So whose study has more value? Just
Yeah.
kidding. But yeah, no, we wanted to improve the burpee, and I felt like some people turn it into burpee broad jumps. So we made it cool to do burpee broad jumps before high rocks.
Mm.
So that was cool. But yeah, 300 burpees. It was because was that Honors Varner, like barbell shrug, or
it's Anders.
Anders?
Yeah.
or Doug. I think Doug was actually the one who did. They did the 1,000 burpees
Mm-hmm.
around that time,
Mhm.
and then they videoed it and put it on YouTube. It's probably on YouTube somewhere still.
Hmm.
And so I was like, oh, I was just thinking about the capacity it takes to do that, like the muscle endurance in the chest, the triceps, the aerobic conditioning. Like obviously slow way down, but it was something that I wanted to see where the tolerance was for people. And so we tested 30 minutes of max burpees
Mm-hmm.
was the test.
Mm-hmm.
oh, okay.
And then from there, I took the aggregate of the people and I figured out how to build like a volume progression based on the midpoint. And we just worked it from there. And it's actually in the retest was a lot of fun. People really enjoyed it because it wasn't something like I saw them do it. I explained, I saw this. I want to try it. We're going to do a progression. Here's the test. We're going to retest it. And then just lay it all out. And then people were like, okay, well, there's rhyme and reason. There's why he wants to do it. And we're all signing up. We're paying anyways. Might as well just come in and get burpees in. And it's not like it took up the whole time. But it was cool.
I mean, Todd has a knack for coming up with really crazy things, and then everyone's like, "Let's do it." I feel like a lot of gyms like we're gonna do 30 minutes of burpees, and most gyms will be like, "Yeah, I'm not coming that day."
I think a lot of gyms do buy in, but I think you're right. And I think there'd be more buy-in if the coaches built programs, and progressions around. Because even BJ did the Chad prep stuff, and the prep stuff that we're gonna do for this weekend, and those that did it will generally see a benefit. And because it's specific to the adaptations of the event that we're going to do or the workout that we're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And when people notice that, they buy in more because you obviously want to excel at the test. Like, it's just basic. Like you get taught that from a young age. You go to school and you go to class and you learn the things and you're like, well, I got to learn these things because they're going to be on the test. And so that's kind of ingrained in us because of our learning culture. So if you say, hey, we're going to do this, and then you have the path, they're not going to miss that. Some people will. I think we could have got away with doing like 2 days a week prep for this weekend's event that we're going to do, the community event. But it would have damaged people's off-season squatting because a lot of our people really enjoyed the community cup. And I think most of them either want to do a high rocks or do really well in the open. So we're trying to gear it towards that.
Yeah.
As much as we can. We do have, interestingly, some people, like I had somebody the other day come to me who wants to get coaching for triathlon and they don't want to pull out CrossFit, which is cool. They're going to do I forget what distance it is, but it's with the 10K run at the end. So if somebody in the comments or someone wants to look that up, Tyler or Heather, which distance that is, I don't know off the top of my head. Because not a sprint. Sprint has the 5K run at the end. So it's got to be like.
How far is it at the end, you said?
10K run at the end. So it's the one up from the sprint triathlon. I know that. But anyways, which is good. Like that's a cool goal to have, to be a general fitness, like general physical preparedness person who wants to then do a triathlon more competitively and does not want to pull out CrossFit. If they're like, hey, I want to do the full like Ironman, it'd be like, well, you could be like James Sprague and be super enduring and aerobic, and then
you'd also need like 3 to 4 hours a day of training.
Yeah. Well, that's why they're not going to do like the full. It just takes too much time.
Yeah.
Like you'd have to give up everything, not just like your CrossFit class. You'd have to give up family time, work time. Like there's just so much. Did you look it up? Anybody look it up?
I thought he was looking it up.
Yeah. It's the Olympic distance.
Okay. There's like 4 different distances, aren't there?
Yeah, I don't know so the Olympic distance is a swim, 1.5 kilometer swim, 40K bike, and then a 10K run.
Yeah. And then the half or the sprint triathlon is before that one, right?
Let's see. Triathlon distances. That's not going to come up. Oh, yeah, here we go. So there's a super sprint, which is a 400-meter swim, 10K bike, 2.5K run.
No one do that.
And then there's the sprint, which is a 750 swim, 20K bike, 5K run.
That's the one.
The Olympic one we just did. The half Ironman, which is a 1.9K swim, 90K bike, and 21.1K run. And then I guess a full Ironman from there.
Which has the marathon at the end.
Which is double that, probably.
Sick. All right. So there you go. How did we get on that?
I don't know. You were talking about.
You said somebody wants that training.
Yeah, specific training, trying to get into something that they want to do. But that's kind of like what we're going to go into with the structure and stimulus matter with workouts. Because how many people nowadays? Because I don't know, I haven't asked Harley, but like even with their event on Friday, I'm sure because he's a smart guy, and I'm just going to make the assumption, could be wrong, but I don't think he didn't back like, okay, we're going to have the event of clean bench press on the 20 whatever day that is, and then go backwards from there and build out some type of either exposure, linear progression, or an undulating progression, or like a conjugate style method to get people prepped for the bench and the clean, you know? And like how much, like, let me ask this question first and you guys can answer it for your opinions. How much nowadays do you think specific training should be in like a CrossFit style program? Assuming
Uh,
CrossFit being constantly varied, right?
you mean just like for GPP?
GPP,
Or
any specific training of like I just mentioned, like the example of Harley's thing. He's got the
Yeah.
clean bench press. CrossFit would tell you generally not to
right?
prep for that thing.
Yeah.
Although Greg has written articles about training your weakness or preparing for something, so they don't fully shy away from it. I think some CrossFitters do. Like you could ask Pat Sherwood, which I always find that funny because Pat Sherwood, OG, linchpin programming, Navy SEAL. That's where like the lines got to come in. A guy who used to be a Navy SEAL, yeah, I could see why he wouldn't have specificity in his training and be part of CrossFit. He was on level 1 staff. You know, he's been on the CrossFit podcast when it was a long time ago, not the new one now because it's just starting. But then you look at a guy like Adrian Conway, who level 1 staff, CrossFit staff, is on the CrossFit podcast, the competitive podcast they have now. He's one of the announcers for the CrossFit Games and believes in periodization and believes that you can also do CrossFit and periodization within CrossFit for everyone. I'm one of those people as well. I think you could periodize for things. And like even back with the 300 burpees, I periodized it for people in a way and specifically trained them to do better at the test, knowing that that action of that fitness would increase their GPP. So my question is like, if you were going to do that, how many sessions a week? Or you could say, hey, no, I disagree with that, which is totally fine. How many sessions a week would you dedicate to that? Like something like the clean or bench or the burpees, or what do you guys think?
I would I don't know. It's one of those fitness. It depends.
Mhm.
Oh no,
Like
I'm not going to play that game. It does depend, but I don't want to play that.
no, I'm just saying. So my like it depends on like how much time you have in between. Like when the thing is and when you're starting, right? So like if you've got like 4 weeks, you probably want to do it more than once a week. If you've got 2 months, you could get away with less. But I would say, I don't know. I think Kyle Ruth did a podcast a couple months after the Open, and he was talking about specifically 25.1 because it's just like broad fitness. Like there wasn't super skill; it was just like fitness and engine and go. And he was talking about how to increase your score on that. And he was like, you don't have to just do burpees and single arm hang clean and jerks. Like you can do wall balls and box jumps and burpees and all different kinds of mixtures of things, and still increase your score on that. So I think that you very much can do specific training because there's so much transferability in CrossFit. But I think that at least once a week, but I think the more exposure you get to it, the better the outcome will be.
For sure. Yeah, I mean that's already generally proven, right? That's why people run for a marathon. They just run, obviously, you know. But I do agree with Kyle Ruth in that regard of like it's hard because that caveat is simple fitness, because the dumbbell weight in 25.1 is 35 pounds, 50 pounds, right? It's got burpees over a dumbbell, hang clean and jerk single dumbbell, and body weight lunges. Because there's no bottleneck or limitation in that type of workout, you're training the biology energy system. So your turnover, recoverability of oxygen, and the turnover glycolytic activity, and then lactic buffering. So in that regard, like, yeah, you don't need to be specific to that. But something like Harley's example, like you got a bench press, right? Because it's very specific in movement and plane of motion. I would say the clean, to Kyle Roos and what you're saying, you could snatch You could throw med balls. You could throw kegs over, violent hip extension. You could do high box jumps. There's a lot of things you could do to train the hip extension for the clean to move the bar quickly that don't look like the clean, which can very well confuse a lot of people. Let's say you're on a progression and the structure is like, all right, I'm going to use a highly explosive day and multiple repetitions. I'm going to use a fatigue resistant day of those repetitions. And then I'm going to use a maximum effort day throughout the structure of the week. And so like the highly explosive day would be, I do max vertical jump. I do 1 rep. I rest anywhere from 90 to 3 minutes, depending on, and I'll do 10 of those and prime the neuro system, highly explosive, very long recovery. Then I want to stress in the second day, the repeatability of efforts to dampen the power a little bit. So maybe I do box jump to depth jump, or bounding box jumps at a high effort, or sled drives, not sled pushes, sled drives through my hips at a heavy resistance, or do power cleans, obviously, like cluster sets, 1.1.1.1 at a 80 to 90% effort. So I could get specific with the movement or non-specific with the movement. I could also set up 5 heavy med balls and throw them over a bar like they do the keg toss. Go 1, move over, 2, move over, 3, move over, 4, move over. And by that 5th rep, I'm fatigued. So I'm throwing it again. I could do high hurdle bounds and build up that fatigue resistance, right? There's lots of ways you could do that, of that hip extension and that drive through the floor. And then the heavy day, I would obviously just power clean, build to a heavy, or maximal percentages, 85+%. And that's a good structure for that thing. And there's some variance. There's the specificity of what you're trying to do. And then there's some like random stuff in there too, to keep it fun, right? How many people do you think like would understand that progression at all? Like they get the training and they're like,
I don't think very many.
Yeah, I think if you told them, they're like, hey, we're doing these things for your power clean on that liftoff, I think a lot of them would just be like, okay, if you say so.
Well, they would look at the programming and they'd be like, okay, the heavy day is the day they're doing it, right? But you're explaining that you're actually putting a lot of thought into that throughout the entire week and not having to do that specific training to build the adaptation.
Yeah. You're looking at like the characteristics. But I think a lot of people would think like, oh, I'm going to increase my power clean. I need to power clean. I think the bench press is a little bit more specific, or like running a marathon is a little bit more specific where you have to run. But it is interesting because obviously you could run a half marathon and you can run way less than for a marathon because of the volume. But how little could you run, as an example, to run a half marathon? Like for a general, let's just say general class
you
goer.
don't have to run very much. I mean, you could just kind of come out there and just, wing it,
yeah. I'm saying like
to actually try.
A reasonable amount of effort.
Like you could run 1 or 2 days a week and not do that much volume. Like you could maybe get in like 6 to 10 miles in like 2 sessions, or less than 10 miles, I guess. And you could just do machine work. Like you don't have to, I mean, arguably you would get better at it, I think, if you did more specific training with the running and more running volume, because it's specific to what you're doing, but you could still build your base and your aerobic fitness by doing machines as well.
Yeah. How much volume would you need of running, you think?
For a half marathon?
Yeah, while you're doing other stuff. What would be like your lowest, like acceptable volume, or your like
across the week of running?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I just went through it. So I was doing anywhere from like 8 to 12 miles a week.
Up until the end there, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting,
And that was across like 3 sessions. So I really was only doing like 3 to 4 miles at a time. Except for like the last couple of weeks leading into it, then I was getting closer to that like 7, 8 and doing longer runs. But generally I was doing a couple sessions a week, doing 3 to 5 miles.
Yeah, so not very much, like to Tyler's point.
Yeah.
It's just buzzing. I don't know what's going on. It's bothering me. Anyways, I wanted to see if unplugging it and plugging it back in would work.
Did it work?
No, it's fine though. We'll figure it out later. Comment if you guys can hear the buzzing on when Heather talks, or if it's just me and my headphones. Yeah, so that's good. Like building structures like that and thinking about how much someone actually needs to do something in their training is really important.
Yeah. I mean, I think one more point on that too. I mean, when I started running it to build first to the 9-miler and then the half marathon that I did in September, I basically wasn't running at all also. So, I mean, I had a base of CrossFit and fitness from that, but I was not conditioned in running at all. So that was even just basically starting from ground zero. And like, so if you take someone who's generally a good runner or likes to run, you know, in addition to just doing CrossFit, they might even have to do maybe even less than that.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how many people do you think do too much? Like they would benefit from less because they're already meeting the minimum effective dose. And because, like you said, they're a good runner already.
Probably the people that's their primary mode of fitness. Like if they're like out there just like running all the time and not doing anything other than that.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting. Do you think they would? So like,
because even like you take someone like that probably runs all of the time who's not like training for a marathon. Like if they're like out there running 5 days a week for just an hour, say they're not even doing it for like mileage. If they're a good runner, they're going to be doing 6 miles times 5, like 30 miles a week potentially.
maybe even more.
Yeah.
If they're a good runner, they might.
And
be
if
doing
they're
7
just
to
not
8.
even training for anything, or even if they're doing a half, like,
Dude, they're doing 40 miles a week.
yeah.
Like they'd be prepared for a marathon like every week.
Yeah.
Like that would be that's crazy. Yeah. Yeah. I wonder, I always think about that. I was like, how many people are doing too much because they're not thinking about their structure of their training. And then also, like you're saying, the history, athlete history of their training or
Mhm.
their background or their chosen mode of fitness.
Mhm.
Because that's one of the other things that's really good about CrossFit. That's why like people like, even not just CrossFit, but we've talked about a lot of different group classes recently, and almost all of them that we've listed do high rep compound multi-joint functional movements execute at relative intensities. Some lack characteristics of absolute strength, some have more endurance characteristics. CrossFit has all of them, and it's just wondering how much of the structure people really take into account. And I also think like Noah and I were talking about this because like I used to say the word template to people for their structure or their outline, or what other word do you use for their training program? Skeleton, the block they're in, the cycle that they're in. Like it's all the same word, but I found that when I said template, people thought I was like using a template off of everybody. And was like, no, that's just the word I'm using. Like it's your weekly structure and I'm saying the word template or skeleton based on you. And obviously, like if you're a runner, you're going to run every day. That doesn't mean that they have the same training program as you. If you're a runner, you got to run easy miles. Doesn't mean that you're writing the same training program for somebody just because we're all doing easy miles. You might line up the easy miles within their week of maximum recoverable volume and have their easy running on a Tuesday. And it just so happens that a lot of people do an easy run on a Tuesday because the way their work week breaks down. It's like, well, we're going to go hard on a Monday, so we'll go easy on Tuesday, and then we'll do like a interval or like a block session, so moderate to high intensity, longer duration, like 3-mile repeats on Wednesday, and then we'll go easy again on Friday. And that structure might line up for somebody else's like work-life balance, right? And then somewhere along the line, people think they're doing all the same thing, but it's always funny too, because I think sometimes I get worried about that with structure with people or their outline or their template. But then like Heather, you're in here and you see my one-on-ones. Like even today, none of us were doing the same thing, but we're all doing CrossFit, but no one's doing the same thing. Sometimes there's, pieces because people have the same problem. Yeah. They're trying to fix the same problem. And that's okay because they're trying to fix the same problem. But the structure of your week, I don't want to put a whole lot of emphasis on it, but man, it is important. Like, how important do you think the structure of someone's training is?
I mean, it's super important.
Yeah.
I think to be able to have them perform the way you want them to in each piece, it's going to matter the structure that they're doing their training in. Like if you're just giving them pulling constantly back to back to back, like they're going to be depleted by the day 2, day 3, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that's like really important too with some of the one-on-ones. Like I have conversations with people like, oh, I couldn't get to the state, which is fine. But then they're like trying to like mix and mash or move things around. And I'm like, no. Right.
No.
It's like, I mean, it's fine in the sense, like it happens, right? Like
but don't put it in anywhere else.
Right.
You missed it.
Right.
Move on.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. And I think that people are just like, oh, like I'm just going to make this up. And I'm like, no, you're not going to make this up. Oh my
God.
Right.
I used to have that problem until I just started straight up telling, like, why would you do that? And then like be really mean to people so they feel bad about themselves. Like almost shame them into the point where they don't ever do it again. It's just like, never do that again, ever again. Just don't do it.
Yeah.
And
well, and then they do it a lot, and then they wonder why they're not getting better either.
Well, yeah, I mean, a really good example of like structure matters. On Tuesdays, we do a secret thing. Can't talk about it anymore. We get killed if I talk about it. But it is a variable of the movement selection, and I've explained that from the get-go. We are doing a variable movement selection, and most of the movements are simple. Sometimes we try to stack simple, hard for a specific reason. We talked about why small blocks, big blocks is a whole thing. I should do a show on it one day. And Heather did 30 bar muscle ups yesterday, but on Wednesdays, she wears pink and does ring muscle ups. And it's Mean Girls. It's a Mean Girls joke. Anyways. So today she was having a hard time, and she also did ring muscle ups on Saturday, which went great. And then she did 30 bar muscle ups, and I was like, hey, let's just try to get some reps today. And I told her, I was like, I'll just cut it at 5. Like, cause then she did 10 on Saturday, ring muscle up. She did 30 yesterday, bar muscle up. And then we'll do 5 today, and we'll have 15 ring, 30 bar, 45 total muscle ups for the week. And she does pull ups on Friday. So we may change those. We may not change those based on how she's feeling. So she'll do some pull ups and then some running typically. And she was supposed to do 15 ring muscle ups because I was trying to build the volume and progress off of the Saturday and her normal progression. But because of yesterday's variable movements, I just came over and was like, hey, don't do that, And she was already having a hard time with it, getting a little bit frustrated. And it's kind of a thing where like, you're the athlete in that moment and you just want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's okay. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, I can see that. She's like, I want to fucking do these doubles. Cause I did doubles on Saturday, and you've been breaking through, doing more volume, doing more doubles, like getting more consistent and pushing your gymnastics. And you don't want that progression to slow.
Right.
But the structure is now all effed up because we did the bar muscles, which is also a huge win for you in the muscle up category. So you did 30, and it's kind of a thing where like in that moment, as your coach telling you, changing the structure so that way we don't dampen and damage it and just move on from it. And we won't do it again until next Wednesday, and that's okay because that's our structure.
Yeah.
And feel good about the 30 bar muscle ups yesterday.
Yeah.
Right? So I mean, I'm a big time, like structure matters, like especially one-on-one.
Yeah.
If you're doing one-on-one, like you can't miss a beat because the goal is to get, I think people, so like Renata said something about GPP. I haven't read that question yet. Maybe we'll get to it. Maybe it pertains to what I'm about to say. But when you go from a group class, non-specific stuff, and you will get better over time, the reason why you go to one-on-one is because you want to get better at something specific. You don't necessarily have to want to get better at competitive CrossFit. It could be, I want to do one-on-one because I want to learn ring muscle ups, or I want to go from 1 ring muscle up to 10 because I find that exciting. You could go from group class to one-on-one because you want to run a little bit faster in the Metcons inside of group class. We do have like a hybrid style coaching, which I think next year we might delete because I find it ineffective. It's like group class for non-specific, spend your time, health and fitness, be consistent, listen to the coach. We have good structure in our training. All our coaches try to obey that structure. and the intensities, and you will get fitter. But if you have a specific thing that you're not so great at, because I write the programming for the midpoint athlete. So I create an avatar athlete based on results. So if you're over here in a higher level, you're not going to get a lot. You're not going to get a lot out of it the way the middle person would. And if you're a beginner person, you're not going to get as much out of it as the middle person. And that's okay. Like that's how bell curves work. With our coaches and coaching and the environment and people, like hopefully we get those people on the lower end to the middle. And the people who are towards the top, it's just a conversation of, hey, you might need one-on-one coaching. Like if you come into the workout every day and do something RX, like you need to change from group class to one-on-one. Like you have to. I mean, you don't have to. You have to only if you consider getting better. And I think this is true, not just for our gym and our coaching staff and remote coaching. I think it's very true for every fitnesser around the world. Like if you come into Barry's Bootcamp and you start mashing on people, well, you either need to switch the modality of training and make it more challenging, or you need to get a one-on-one coach and just like be the best Barry's Bootcamper of all time. Like, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's one of those things where like, you don't have to get better if you're okay with, you know, like physically how you look, your energy, the things you can do, the performance you can put out. That's totally fine. But if you're unhappy with any of those things, as we all know, like you have to impose more demand. So that's where like the going from the class, because the demand of the class might not be specific enough, or the structure may be wrong. Like you might be a female in a CrossFit class that wants to get her first pull up, but you pull once a week or once every other week or once a month. Sometimes like you follow the NC Fit program for affiliates. Oh my God, you're never getting a pull up. You're never getting it. Like the reason why you can do a pull up is because you're a freak of nature pulling. Like you're Liz Wishart and you love to pull. It's wild.
Right.
Like, but at the end of the day, that program gives good fitness, well-roundedness, you know, by being consistent and getting exposure, you get more fit and healthy. And I don't want to like downgrade that, but if you have any specificity and you're a bad puller, like you might need 3 days a week of pulling. And the only way to get there, because there's no program on the internet, unless you buy somebody's like pull-up program, then you try to layer it into a program that you're already doing. And we just gave you the example of Heather doing back-to-back days of muscle ups, and we had to pull the plug on it and make those decisions and give her a better structure for today based on what she did yesterday. Your blog program is not going to do that for you at all.
Yeah.
You know, and like, I think sometimes people think like, oh, one-on-one coaching. I see it too, of like one-on-one coaching. We give you communication, this, that, the other, like those things are great. But sometimes I think how many of these things that I see where people are trying to sell, how many of them are like, hey, we're actually looking at the program design. We're looking at the results and dictating subsequent weeks, you know, based on your results and dialing in the programming so perfectly. Because I think there are a lot of camps, and I'm not saying communication and giving people their intention, quote unquote, of the training is not important. It's important, but I think it's less important than the X's and O's. And I think it's easier to over communicate something than it is to learn about principles and methods and application and grow experience of principles and methods of training to create adaptations in human beings. It's easier for me to go, all right, guys, or whatever, one-on-one athlete, you're bad at power clean. So we got this power clean thing coming up on Friday in a couple of weeks. So we're going to power clean every day. We're going to go on linear progression, and we're going to start at 60%, and then we're going to go to 65, and then we're going to go 70, and then we're going to 75. Okay. Every week we're going to do that. Okay. We're going to do that. And then everybody buys into it. And it's like, yeah, this coach knows what they're talking about. We're going to do it. Okay. What about the people that like, they get to week 4 and they're 80%, they can't fucking clean the bar, or they hitch the bar, and you're not making any adjustments like, oh, you know what? This person has a hitch in the bar. We probably should put them on the blocks and like change this out a little bit to get rid of the hitch. Or like, oh man, this position doesn't work very well. Let's put them in a hang position or a hip snap or hip clean, or like giving them the movement selection and the drills to fix the problem instead of going back and going, you know, you're doing great. We're focusing on power cleans. You got to hit 80%, move your feet out a little bit more, or put the elbows through, or this, that, the other. that stuff is great, but you can not easily, you'd have to learn this. I could sit back and say nothing to you and give you the next drill that would fix your problem without ever talking to you, because I understand the mechanics, the programs perfectly, which I think is way more important in my biased opinion than me telling you how good you look.
Well,
you know?
I mean, even take like the me and the ring muscle up thing, where it's like, if I didn't have you riding it week to week based on
Look
what
at
I was
Cody.
doing,
That linear progression would end up having my get a power clean PR. Well, having me, he corrected, having me. Oh, would not, dude.
But you look at the example of like me and the ring muscle up. Like if I just was following a program and it was like, okay, do one every minute for 10 minutes. Okay, cool. Check. Did it. Then it was like week 2. Now do 2 reps every 2 minutes for 5 sets or whatever. I can't do the 2. Right. And then it's like, okay, I can't do it. Week 3, do 3 every 3 minutes. And I'm like, well, I can't do the 2. And
That
so
happens.
like people just continue, and then they start getting in this like program or these, whatever that's already literally built, but they can't do 3s or they can't do 2s, and they're still like in 1s, and they might be in 1s for a year.
How do you feel about this though? Okay, let's say, which would you rather have? And I know my answer. Which would you rather have? The coach who then, so the week 1 you do 1, week 2 you can't do 2s, and they give you back a coach's eye video and explains, and because I know you, explains that you need to get through the rings more with your shoulders. Okay. And then they give you that video and they communicate. Then week 2, they go, or week 3, I guess, they go, okay, we're going to do 2s again. Try to get your shoulders through the rings. And sometimes that's good coaching and it happens, and she'll get her shoulders through the rings. Great. That's an example of communication, verbal communication, and some feedback on the video. What about, that's good. That gets the job done. What about the coach that then goes, okay, says basically nothing, maybe a little bit of writing, and gives you toe supported ring dips in the bottom, extended through, gives you the drill to create the shape that forces you into the shape that we want as a primer, and says, hey, we're going to use this as a primer into your ring muscle ups today, and we're going to do 2. And then she does 2. Which is better?
I mean, arguably they're the same thing, because you're having them do the thing that you want them to do. But I'm going to argue that I think athletes like the first one because because in their brain, they know what they're supposed, like, okay, I got to get through the rings. Like they like know what the goal is, even though the drill is having them do that already without you saying it.
Yeah. So
but it's almost like you're cueing them though, in a sense, too, remotely. So like when week 3 comes up or 2, they're like, okay, the cue is get through.
So I've been trying as a coach, trying to get better at both. The feedback that I've gotten as a coach is that I don't get enough communication and let people know how they're doing. I don't appeal to their emotions enough in that way. That's what I would say. And I've been trying to get better at that. Give people videos, give them a little bit of myself, my voice and everything else. And I think that's what we try to do with these Wednesday calls also. And we get out here so people get to know us and understand where we're coming from and our mind and everything else. But I do think people generally, outside of human performance and trying to achieve their goal, they want human connection. That is very apparent across the board in our society and we talked about this last week. Actually, a couple people, shout out, you guys got the book Tribe. I'm happy you did. I'm glad you're listening to it. And thank you for letting me know that you're listening to it or reading it. Someone sent me a picture of their paperback. So, hey, good job. So I've been trying to get better at that, and both are good. And I'm going to try to do both. The only problem I have is like time, obviously, because you got to choose as a coach the time you're going to spend. And my rub, and I'm going to share this with you guys because it's a way for me to articulate that and share that with everyone at Mass, is that in my experience and my outcomes of athletes, doing the second approach has always had better outcomes than the first as far as achieving someone's goal. It always has. You're attacking the weak point, you're building it up, you're giving them what they need, you're changing the drills. You don't need to say anything. And like what Nate's saying is like number 2 requires more trust.
But by giving them that drill, you're, like you said, you're attacking the weak point and you're giving them something physically to work on beyond just being like, do the thing,
Yeah.
I mean, they could maybe do the thing, but a lot of times they might be limited by their body mechanics and what they're able to do. So it's easier for you to give them the drill so that their body can then do the thing that you're wanting them to do beyond just like telling them, well, just do it. I mean, I remember back in the day, you used to tell me, don't put it on a pedestal, just do the thing. And I'm like, I'm
That
trying.
was bad coaching.
I'm trying.
That was bad.
Right.
I mean, there is a level of where you just got to do something.
Right.
Sure. You got to be able to do it so you can practice it, right? You got to be able to do one ring muscle up so you can practice ring muscle up.
Right.
It can be a really shitty muscle up. You got to be able to do a double under so you can do double unders and practice them. Like if you can't even do one, there's no point in us not no point. I shouldn't say that. There's lesser value in doing positional drills to make the double under more efficient if you don't even know what it feels like to do a double under.
Right.
It's like, come on, we got to get one and then we can work on it. Like if you do one, we can work on it. But I don't want to get in the weeds. What were you going to say, Tyler? Because you were going to say something.
Well, I was just going to say, coaching is more than fitness, but it's never less than fitness because everybody comes
like
to
that a
you
lot.
to get better at their fitness. So
Yeah.
so you can have all this human communication and videos, and I'm talking to you and you can hear my voice and see my face. But if you're not getting them better at the thing they came to you to get better at, then you're not actually coaching them, but on the flip side,
Or you're coaching them something different.
well, that's what I was going to say is coaching is interpersonal.
Yeah.
You have to be able to communicate with human beings. But if I give you my style is more number 2, like we've talked about this, and I need to work on number 1. But I think that if your fitness is improving, but you're not getting the relational thing, then you're still getting what you came for.
Yeah.
I think it's person specific too. Like some people really like the interpersonal one-on-one relationship.
But what if they never get fitter? I talk
Right.
to my coach every day and I am less fit.
Yeah,
That's not what they
100%.
want.
I think that's
Yeah,
a non-negotiable. Like you got to be getting fitter no matter what.
I would
the
feel
communication
bad
is,
if that
but-
was happening though. That's partly why I
But-
default to number 2 because and Heather and I have known a coach that we watched them coach someone for years and not just a couple. It was very habitual that this coach had
this
people-
client,
multiple clients that would never get any better. And you could tell that they came in just to be with the coach, which again, that has a value. That has so much value, but it's not in the vein of what we're talking about for improving the goal. We started off talking about improving your bench press or improving your marathon or, the athlete that came to me that wants to do better at their triathlon and do this triathlon competitively for them and not give up their CrossFit. If we don't do those things, no matter how much I rub their back and say, you're doing so great, this is good, we got these things, I love how you move here, you're doing this. No matter how much I do that, at the end of the day, I should not get paid for what I was doing. I should get paid for
Right.
being an emotional support dog. And I don't want, it's hard because I don't want to devalue that because I know there's a value there. It's just hard. It's hard for me personally to not go, the job is fitness, do fitness.
Yeah.
It's hard for me. And I'm learning. Maybe in 2 years,
Well,
I'll
and
change my opinion
I also think
and I'll be better.
the point that I'm making is you do coach a lot of women. And I think a lot of women like you're doing great.
That's weird. Why do I coach so many women if that's what they want?
But it's for women, it's an emotional thing, right? They want to feel encouraged and they're doing the thing and that they have the relationship with you and you're proud of them. And I think all of those things happen. Then you get,
we're getting the weeds. All those things are true.
I know. I'm just
but
saying, I think
I
that's
just don't
why
express
you
them.
get that feedback is because they're women and they want, and you as a man, and Tyler's saying the same thing as you, where it's nope, I just like to get to the point, give you what you need, blah, blah, blah. And that's I think that's why.
I guess I also want savages, bro. I
Yeah.
want people getting on.
Yeah.
Look, we had 3 people on podium. I coached all 3 of them. Well, actually, technically 4 people.
Mhm.
Harley coaches Stephanie. We also had great performances by Jason Celine at Desert City.
Mhm.
But that's the other thing is it was huge. Especially for Emmanuel. I told him I don't know how many of you guys watched or stayed up on Desert City, but we had a lot of athletes compete. Couldn't get out there because flights, but we had Emmanuel get 3rd place in 35-39. Matt Chia back on the competition floor after some injuries and some other things,
Love
get
that.
first place. And then we had Michelle Weir get third place, also hanging on to her spot, battling it out. And we had Steph, I forget how to say her new last name, so I'm sorry, Steph McConnell, because that's what I remember you as. But you have a new last name. She got married. It was recent. I make sure when I write it, I do it right. I wrote it down recently. I'm gonna pull it up just because.
Swiatek. In my mind I say Swiatek, so I don't know if that's even right.
Switek, you tell us.
You're gonna
Steph.
have her like voice now.
She'll tell me. She's a good. I love Steph. She's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
So you tell me. I'm doing my best out here. McConnell's easier to say. Anyways, if she's gonna send it over, it's gonna be some easy last name. I'm like, God, I'm so stupid. Anyway, so second place, and then Celine and Jace. Jace got I don't want
Eighth,
to. I
I
have it
think.
written
Eighth.
down.
Yeah.
8th place, and then Celine was 16th with some stellar performances, dude. And like that's it. Like you want to go out there and just battle. Like you want to go out there and go to war. And I want to make sure that we can do that for you and help you to do that. And you're not going to always be able to do that. Like you might go to a comp and get last place because there's some savages out there, you know, and like do your best and perform. Like Celine, I don't know how many of you guys saw the little story. Like I begged her to go live a couple of times because I wanted to see her because it was cool because I had all my athletes have somebody hold their thing and they went Instagram live so I could watch all of their events all weekend long, which was awesome. And it's cool to see people do that. And I wanted to see Celine do some of the stuff. So I was like, hey, go live, you know? And the one she should have went live on was a snatch, bro. It was so sick. Crushed it, dude. She got out there, I think 12 total snatches at 145, which is like a huge win for her. And she hugged one of the competitors, and I was joking. I was like, dude, you out there hugging random strangers because it's so hype. Like, you know, you become friends with like your competitors sometimes if you're lucky and you build camaraderie. But like, I joked with her. I was like, oh, yeah, hashtag dad, like girl dad. I want to go to a comp when you're there one time so I could just like jump out there and hug random strangers. Like, that's sick. Dude. Get people hyped up. So happy.
She 12 at 145. That's huge.
Yeah,
for
it's
her.
sick.
That's really cool.
So like, but that at the end of the day, like that's what we're training for. And there's a lot of like interpersonal workings there with that. But also it's like, yeah, dude, like get out there and be a savage. Like Emmanuel, I told him, and what was really cool actually, and you guys could do this if you pick up one. I love this. This was so good. He had his mic, like the mic that I have, and like he's got one. Like you can get a Rode mic or a DJI, and he put it on. So his live, you could hear him and his judge.
While he's working out.
Yeah. It was sick because a couple of reasons. One,
he's like dying. You just like hear.
Yeah. So one it was really cool. It was really cool to hear the judges because you could actually hear what the judge was saying. It was picking them up. So like if they're giving a no rep or whatever, like you could hear that. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it because like it was like I was on the competition floor with him because you're under duress as an athlete. And I'm on the, like, I can hear what they're saying. So I know like, hey, they're like, go lower over here, blah, 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 whatever. So that was cool. And then it's also cool, like you said, like what he's saying, because he kind of talks to himself a little bit. I do that too. It's not, lots of people do. You're a weirdo if you don't talk to yourself, to be honest, in the middle of a hard ass workout where you're just trying to, come on, man, pump yourself up. So that was cool. And then, yeah, like you're saying, there was one of the workouts where he was really nervous for, and it has running, and we've been working on his running, his aerobic capacity, and his high turnover. And I could hear him breathing on the lunge portion. And I was like, oh, okay, I see the problem now. Like his ventilatory rate is way too high for that demand of what he's doing at that loading. And sure, you're under duress in that portion of the workout. And I was like, oh, this is the issue. So it was cool because with that one singular thing, I was able to quote unquote diagnose or identify the problem. And now I know, all right, we're going to work on some breathing mechanics. We're going to put him under high ventilatory rate. We're going to build that out so he can now have a buffer and just start crushing people. And then the other cool one was I got on a call with every athlete before and after their events to just touch base and talk about stuff, which was it was cool. It was exhausting. It was kind of a lot, but I enjoyed it. I think if I can't get to a comp ever again, That's going to be my like standard operating procedure, like FaceTime. Emmanuel has a
Like after the event or before? And
before and after.
Yeah.
Like you call me, FaceTime me before the event, before you warm up, excuse me. We talk, whatever we're going to talk about, 5 minutes, and then like cool down and either call me during the cool down or directly after. And that's the athlete's responsibility. And I will take those calls. Like how I was coming in on Saturday,
Yeah.
coming in and out of the office. It's hard. It's
It is
really hard. But
I mean, I did that with Ashley when she was at NCC, and that was just one person, and I felt like that was really hard because I do like 3 workouts a day, so you're on 6.
But man, we
calls
want
with
to talk
one
about
person.
interpersonal skills, dude.
Yeah.
That was high level. But yeah, so that's a kind of a new thing. I've tried to do it in the past. I was very successful this weekend on doing that as a coach, and I enjoyed it. It was hard, but I enjoyed it. And it was very fun to like enjoy and like share with them and their experience. And especially too, because they all got on the podium. But like the last workout, I was like, look, man, he's in 5th, and I think it was like 21 points away from podium. And I was like, all you can do right now is fucking win this workout. Like you need to go out there and just every fiber in your body, just win the workout. He's like, oh, like, and I'm like, no, just go, like literally. And I was like, I hate to say this, go fast, take chances, you know? Like I hate to say that, but with the workout itself, like the dubs have been improving. It's been something we've been working on, and something in his structure that he's been working on. We're going to continue to work on it. And it was with a little bit heavier rope. He had a gymnastics complex, which like, you know, that was cool because we've worked a lot of gymnastics. Bodyweight gymnastics is tough for him. He's a bigger guy. That's just how it works. And it was cool to see him go because you had to do the complex unbroken. And it was like, I forget, 7 pull-up or 5 pull-ups. No, 7 pull-ups. I don't even know.
5, 4, 3.
5, 4, 3. Yeah.
Mhm.
5 pull-ups. Let's just go with that.
4 chest
5.
bar,
Yeah.
bar
5
muscle.
pull-ups, 4 chest to bar, 3 bar muscle ups unbroken. And for him, that's a huge win right out the gate. So he go 3, 2, 1, go. And I can hear him like getting like jazzed up for the start of the workout. He's like, go fast, take chances. Cause he had the mic on. I was like, yeah, let's do this, dude. It's gonna be sick. It's either gonna be really sick or really bad. And he runs out, comes off the gymnastics. And I was like, oh no. Cause when he comes down, because he's a shorter athlete, he lands on the pad and they get messed up.
Mhm.
I was like, fuck. Cause he's got to now go back and fix that and everything else. But like he like lands, comes off, runs to the jump rope, goes unbroken on the first set of dumbbells. You can see him looking around, and like whoever has camera wasn't kind of panning. And I try to ask like, who's he in front of or whatever. So then I start trying to listen to the announcer because I know that he had to get ahead of this guy, Connor, who's in 3rd, and the other people. So he gets ahead, and he's ahead of Connor, who actually now starts making a run for it. And so they do it again, and they're on the double unders, and I can hear the announcer like, oh, Manuel. And so like now they're in the race. It's him and Connor, and everybody else. I could see the 2 guys.
Todd's at home to scream.
Dude, I was gonna be like, yeah, I was losing my shit because it was sick. And then,
That's funny.
so then like you can see the 2 guys to the right and left of him because they don't move the camera. They start falling off. They struggled in the gymnastics part. He's ahead of them. The one guy on his left, like if you're watching his right, starts to kind of catch him on the dubs, but then it goes to the thruster. And I'm just like, then I start texting into the chat box for whoever's watching the phone.
Tell him to do
Yeah,
this.
because when he gets to the thruster, I was just like, he's got to go like unbroken, and he's got to just look at the field, like go unbroken, look at the field, and then when you walk back. So then he like gets unbroken, walks back, but now you can hear the announcer being like, "Oh, Connor's ahead," blah, blah. And I was like, "Fuck!" Like that can't happen because this guy's in 3rd, and like you have to jump him because points and like just how it all works. And then he finally, like the last round, he's slightly ahead on the dubs, but then he like breaks the dubs, and you can hear that like, oh, Connor's getting to the dubs. And I'm like, well, he's already like a few dubs ahead. But then somehow, and I can't see Connor, so I'm listening for this announcer. And he like, you can hear it's like, Emmanuel going to the dumbbell. And then like a second later, it's like Connor coming to the dumbbell. I was like, oh my God, you have to go unbroken right now. Like I'm like screaming at the phone. I'm like typing, go unbroken. Like, so people can tell him. And like, you can't hear anybody really saying anything to him other than like, whoa, go. And I'm like, that's not super actionable. Like he needs to go unbroken. This guy's coming. He needs to get first. So he like, I forget what rep it is. It was probably like 9 or 10. And his arm is like on the thruster. I was like, oh my God, he's not going to make it through these last little reps here. And he stops on his shoulders. And he's like, I was like, oh,
Go
fuck.
fast, take chances.
Dude,
Go.
yeah, basically. So he like, and he does the last 3, puts him down, comes in. He's like, yeah. And I was like, oh my God, dude. And he got first.
Let's
first
get
in
a
that
moment
event.
of silence for Emmanuel.
That's solid.
A little clap.
It was sick, dude. It was sick. And still, you could watch it. I'm
That's
sure
cool.
it's gonna be less exciting if you watch it on the live than the way I narrated it. But yeah, and he got first, and that's all he could do. And then they do the stupid thing because like they want to have the podium. They don't update the scores on the competition corner. I was getting so frustrated.
Mm.
But I was like trying to run the points. I was like, okay, if Connor got second, then this is and I was like, dude, there's a chance. And then it finally updates. I was like, oh my God, he got third. He got punched in. It was crazy. It was crazy.
That's
It was
cool.
so sick. But yeah, I mean, that's and all of that, like we talked about structure and like we'll end with like why the stimulus matters of certain workouts and use a specific example that we have. But man, that's it. Like that's how you get to that place, right? And I think Emmanuel would agree. Like my level of like personal communication with him could be a lot better, for sure. And I agree with that, you know. And I'm like trying because I'm just not that way generally. Like I hold it in. Like I think most people don't realize how introverted I am until you really like. Yeah, no, you know, you've seen. Tell me you haven't seen me at other outings where I just really don't talk to anyone.
I mean, okay.
Like when I'm out
Okay, when
here-
you're talking about CrossFit, you're not introverted. When you're talking about anything else,
when I'm
you
in
could
charge,
be.
I'm not introverted. When I'm not in charge, I'm just like, well, I'm good, man. I gotta talk to you.
I don't know if people believe that, but you could be.
I use all my, you know me. I use all my energy out here and all these other things, and then it's the most introverted extrovert is what it is.
Mhm.
But what? That's actually dope. What was actually dope?
He was
Kirsten?
saying about how you heard him with the mic going,
Oh,
"Go fast, take
yeah,
chances
go
before
fast,
the
take
workout."
chances. Yeah. Oh, see, Nate, I believe it 100%. It's true. I don't like external events that I'm not like. I'm just like, what do you want to talk about? You want to talk about CrossFit? No, thank you. All right. Well, the last thing we did want to cover was like the stimulus. And I think we have a very specific example, which is great, and how things can kind of get messed up in that stimulus. Because ultimately we're trying to have experiences like that with Emmanuel. And I don't want that Emmanuel story. It did overshadow Matt and Michelle for sure. But they had very similar accounts. I think the Emmanuel one was just crazy because he wasn't in a like a podium position, and they punched himself into the podium position. But Michelle held third place basically all weekend, executed every single fucking workout. I was hoping that Matt could win every workout. That'd have been cool.
It was cool to see Matt back doing his
Yeah.
thing.
And there was a games athlete there in that division that he's competed against before, so it did give him some competition. It's a good way to just get your feet, back under you, and that's all I really wanted out of him doing it, is just to get back into that rhythm, because he's good again, and we'll see how he does this year. But yeah, so the stimulus of things, like, and I hate when people say stimulus because they don't give context. When most of the time when we talk about stimulus, it's like energy system stimulus, like physical adaptation and what you're trying to get. And some of those adaptations are very simple. It's like aerobic, anaerobic, lactic, alactic. Like it's only 4 choices. Some could be like the other, like the strength continuum could be like strength, absolute strength, strength, speed endurance, speed, strength, like, across absolute speed. And those are kind of the only stimulus realistically, other than loading and volume, to create adaptation, but like biological stimulus of what you're trying to get out of a certain thing. And we'll give you the workout, and then we'll explain how you can like really mess up a workout and not get the quote unquote intended stimulus out of it. So the workout was 8 rounds, and I was having people do it as pairs. Some number of calories on the Echo Bike, partner 1. When they're done, partner 2 starts burpee box jump overs, and then they rest together. So one round, the first round, you're only doing the bike, and then the other person's only doing the burpee box jump overs. And then you switch in round 2. person who did burpee box jump overs now only does the bike, and the person who did the bike only does burpee box jump overs. How it works is like, let's just take a number. You're on the bike for, let's just say 30 seconds to make the math easy. And then the person who doing burpee box jump overs is on the burpee box jump over for 30 seconds. The rest between rounds is 2 minutes. So when you're on the bike going into the burpee box jump overs, you're going to get 3 minutes of rest. Whereas the person going into the bike, it's about 90 seconds of rest. Or no, sorry, 2 minutes and 30 seconds of rest. And that rest, that little 30 seconds does matter. Also, the order of rest into the movement also matters. Because for most people, it obviously, yeah, even elite athletes, realistically, it's much harder to produce a lot of power in a burpee box jump over than it is on a echo bike. Most to all people, right? You can get some GPP person on an echo bike and they can rip and get themselves to throw up. Whereas if you had them, I mean, some deconditioned people, this could happen too, but you could have somebody do 12 burpee box jump overs and like, they'll do it and be like, oh, I'm kind of winded. I'm tired. That sucked, you know? But you could have somebody do 12 calories and they go straight for the garbage can. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the ability to produce power in a burpee box jump over is limited by a couple of things: jumping mechanics, pressing power, body weight, the height of the jump, and then just generally their coordination and accuracy. So they're able to move quickly over the box, right? Forced everyone to clear the box, JK. Oh, anyways, Cody said he forced everyone to clear the box. Cody coached this workout also. So with that being said, giving the longer rest into every box jump over interval will allow people to express more power versus giving a shorter rest or a longer rest into the bike. If you decrease the rest into either one of those, generally what will happen to power?
It'll dampen.
Yeah, decreases. If you know that one movement requires much more power and output, what do you need to do to maintain power and output?
Rest longer.
Rest longer, typically, right? What was your example of your favorite 49er player?
Oh, I was talking about Christian McCaffrey, and I was watching he was doing like some training program, and they were doing, I think it was like 100-meter sprints, and he was either doing like 10 to 15 sets or something. And so he'd run the sprint and then he'd rest 4 or 5 minutes
To maintain absolute power, right?
Yeah.
And some people could easily, rest less and keep the same output, right? But those people have more capacity. That doesn't mean though that you don't rest them. Because something we can't measure is, all we can measure is speed for that time of whatever we're looking at. We can also measure watts. We can measure foot pounds of pressure, like if they ran across some force plates and and you would see a dampen from set to set to set. For elite athletes, it's a very small degree, which is almost unnoticeable versus GPP people. But just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not there.
Right.
Right. And so you have to allow the tested and studied amount of rest from strength and conditioning principles, not CrossFit, because CrossFit has no idea what rest is. Like that's the one stake in the ground I could put it in the ground. That like CrossFit has no idea what rest interval really is. Like, why is it always just a 1 minute rest? Like, it's there just to fuck with you. Like, it might as well just went straight most of the time,
It's
right?
preventing you from throwing up.
Or change your weights, change your shoes, transition. Todd, do you
ever run into time issues?
every run? Sometimes, but I play out the session in my mind like beforehand. So I try not to have that happen to coaches, because I like add up the time and then I add up how long I think a warm up would take and like everything else. And if they run over, most of the time, not all the time, it's their fault, not mine. Like the coach did a poor job of running the class,
Well, usually if it's
most of the time.
if it's a longer workout
sometimes I mess up
with long rest intervals, that might be the only thing we do that day. Or it'll be like a short 6-minute piece before. So usually it's not like you're doing some, 15-minute piece before or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
Typically we're not doing the 1 to 16, obviously, because you're right. You don't have time for that. But it could be, I mean, what if your output's like 10 seconds, you know? So then, yeah, okay, you're going to rest for 210 or 120, no, 240. So you could do something like that for sure in a class period and just do like a 25-minute something or other, or like, so you could. Most people don't want to do that shit though, except for Cody, I guess. I'll take the 1 to 16. You better go hot. But anyways, the point is like you manipulate those rests unintentionally because you either do it wrong or like Tristan's saying, you're running out of time. You're a one-on-one athlete and you're like, you know, I feel recovered. I'm gonna go ahead and go before I feel like I'm ready to go, you know?
Yeah.
Ready to go. Now you just messed it all up.
Yeah. Well, usually when they do that, it's like they get 2/3 of the workout in and then they're like, oh shit, I should have rested longer at the beginning. And then they realize it usually 2/3 of the way through or halfway through.
Right.
Or they get all the way done. They're like, it wasn't that bad. And it's like, well, you should have been going a lot harder than you were going.
Right. Tristan, I will say this though. If we can do it in a class setting, your one-on-one should be able to do it on their own in their free time. So there's that. You could say, hey, I know a guy who runs these high and long intervals in class with GPP Vivo. So I'm sure you can handle it by yourself, buddy. I mean, you could say that. You don't have, I mean, hey, they may respond poorly to it. But yeah, that stimulus, like you can mess up that stimulus very easily by taking liberties in your own hands and going too soon and not obeying it just because it feels easy. You know, there's a lot of things that you can really mess up in the structure of a training session. And I don't think athletes should even be messing with that stuff. It's similar like what Heather said of the structure. Like, oh, I'm just going to move this piece to another day. It's like, well, now you're messing with the stimulus of the day, of the other stuff. You could be compounding on a muscle group or pattern that you don't need to be compounding on that could dampen the outcome or recovery profile of that thing. And then from there, it's like, well, now what do I do? And you're under recovered, you're overtrained, and you're not getting better. So you're not going to have cool outcomes like Emmanuel, you know, or Michelle or Matt stand on podiums. But like, you don't know enough to make those decisions. So probably don't just have the conversation with your coach. Like go right to your coach, you know, text them. And like Cody does this, I watch him sometimes. He'll text Marissa and it's like, I'm just waiting for her response, which I love. I'm so glad he does that. I'm like, yeah, man, Dave, wait for that response. I could tell you the answer, but I like this. This is better. This is good. And he'll wait for the response.
It's good. He trusts her.
Yeah,
he
phenomenal.
knows, right?
Yeah. I love that. But yeah, it's just how much do you think like, because I think stimulus matters 100%. And the intention of the workout is built into the structure or the movement selection. I mean, I guess but that's pretty simple. Like movement selection is like what you're working on. So that should be a no-brainer.
Yeah. But like you can even give the example of like what we were talking about earlier about the piece you wrote for me today, where it was like, you basically wrote 2 rounds, rest 5 minutes, 5 sets, right? And so in those 2 rounds, it was going to take me about 6 to 7 minutes to do that. And so across the 5 sets, I'm working for like a total hour. But you had given the example, you're like, well, you could also take that exact same workout for somebody who needs to do lower intensity movement or like, lower skill movements.
Yeah. And higher intensity.
But higher intensity where like you can just manipulate the volume. So I did rowing, box jump overs, shuttle runs, which is pretty easy movements. But then you can change the volume of that to making the 2 rounds being like 2 minutes or 3 minutes with the 5-minute rest or 6-minute rest. And so then you're doing the exact same thing, but you're restructuring the workout.
Well, yeah, because I even made the example of like you could do a 300-meter row instead of 500, or you could do an 800-meter row instead of 300, or you could do a 150-meter row.
Yeah,
you could do 10 box jump overs, you could do 30, you could do 5 shuttle runs, or you could do 15. That changes what the workout is without changing the structure. Because for you, the main structure was, and people like you, because I do have a lot of athletes that have a hard time doing 10 rounds of something like 20-minute AMRAP, do 10 rounds, like a Cindy, and like high turnover, high volume. Those workouts you do really, really well. And then at a certain point, it's just like, bro, and it's like, oh, we got to hang on because you're not going to get the score you need.
Right.
So I'm going to train you in smaller doses with longer rest to build out the volume and the longer period. That's why your reps take you X time. So she's doing, if we were runners, she'd run for a mile and a half, rest to recovery, run a mile and a half, rest to recovery, run a mile and a half, rest to recovery, run a mile and a half, which helps people run 5Ks, 10Ks, and half marathons faster. So I'm using that method and principle of stringing it out, being glycolytic, and blocking her sets to allow later on her to just put those back to back to back because they've seen that that's how that works. Right. So I use the structure of 5 sets of 2 times with rest, right? And it doesn't matter what goes in there because I know what I'm putting for her. Yeah. That's why what matters is like, okay, we're going to use these simple movements because I don't want any bottlenecks, but we're also going to use the specific amount of reps because spoiler alert, I use the same structure for a couple of people who either need to go faster and volume. So they're doing way less work than you are because they need to sprint that work. And they will sprint that work because it's short. There's no reason to like go slow. Whereas your work, you had to sustain an effort, and the work itself, the repetitions and the volume forces you to sustain it. Mm-hmm. You could send it, but what's going to happen to the subsequent rounds, or what's going to happen to the second round, or what's going to
dampen for sure.
Yeah. And like the structure and stimulus of that workout almost is baked in where like, as long as you just do the thing, you're going to get like 80% of the benefit without you knowing anything else. Right.
Well, that goes to 2 things. One, if you're saying like, you don't really have to explain that, like if they're just doing what they're supposed to be doing and they're working at the intensity that you're telling them to work at, they're going to get those benefits. I think conversely, you gave the example earlier. It's like, we were all in here doing our own thing, but sometimes people are like, we have the same thing. And I know you get really pissed at that because you're like, you're doing the same movements, but it's not the same thing, right? Because you can manipulate it, right? You can manipulate the sets and the reps and the time domains that way, or the time domains, because you're manipulating the reps and the sets.
Yeah.
And so you're getting actually different adaptations for different people and what they need.
Yeah. And that's the other thing too, is like, if we're all playing, I use the analogy a lot. If we're all playing basketball, like you're still going to dribble, shoot, pass the ball. And then you have specificity, right? Let's tell them to shut up. Seriously says, tell them to shut up. They're doing the same sport. Yeah. That's the basketball analogy. Yeah. And I do take the time for like the on-site people to not sit them down, but I do try to explain like, look, this was different because this, or I just sometimes let it ride because I'm like, fine, you think you're doing the same thing.
They understand that now. I mean, they don't really say that anymore.
But they used to. It used to drive me crazy. Yeah. Oh, we got the same thing. It's like, oh, cool. You're doing ring muscle ups. Oh, cool. Yeah, You're doing 10 unbroken and you're doing 1.1. You're definitely doing the same thing. Because, hey, I hope to see you both in the same exact position on the leaderboard. Crazy. If that's how you get better, I mean, I'd have an easier job.
Anyways. Which is why one-on-one matters.
And the stimulus matters. Like, the stimulus is everything. Yeah. It truly is. And it goes deeper than like, because again, the intensity level of the workout, it got kind of messed up that we're talking about the box jump over and the echo bike. And what happens is like, if you decrease the rest, that natural intensity of those movements go down. If you increase the rest, then obviously the natural intensity of those movements can go up. And that's true for a lot of things. And you could come in for your training session and do that to it. And that's okay, because you're going to come in the next day and everything else. But let's say you're not just trying to be, 16th place in a competition. You're trying to be 4th place, or you're trying to be on the podium. You're not trying to be at the bottom anymore and you want to move up. Like, just coming in and doing it somewhat right is going to keep you where you're at and keep you really competitive and close to that goal. But coming in and like just obeying what it says and trying to live into that is better. And I think there's athlete responsibility too. Like, as coaches, I could definitely, and I try to do a better job of this. I label the session now for people of like snatch day. And it's like, that today there's lots of stuff, but it's a snatch day. So get better at snatching. Like, that's implied, I think. Hopefully that's what people are getting from it. Or it's like, muscle endurance, lower body muscle endurance day, right? So you know it's muscle endurance. So like make your legs burned a little, right? So I'm trying to help with that. I could probably label every little piece a little bit better for people to understand what the intent is. I do write notes,
Mhm.
but even that sometimes gets misconstrued or gets confused by people. But it's a thing where like the training will induce a certain adaptation as long as you just do it the right way. And not like, yeah, change anything. It's different in a class setting or like someone coaching you through something because their errors can get made there. But it, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example where the coach could really mess it up like remotely. I just don't think they do.
Mess what up?
Like
what
the
do you mean?
training. I think the training is written exactly how it's supposed to be written in most cases, unless they don't know what they're doing. Because like we talked about, like you could make a workout hard. You can make any workout hard, but you can't make any workout easy. Like think about that.
Mhm.
I had this conversation today with somebody because they were like, "Oh," I was like, "Yeah, you can make any workout hard, but like think about this: the difficulty of." Now I know what the answer is, and I'll say what the answer is to like debunk it, but it's silly once you say it. 21, 15, 9 ring muscle ups and squat cleans at let's say 205 and 155 for women. That's a hard workout. There's no way to make that workout easier without like you're going to do it RX. We're not modifying anything. We're not scaling anything. You can do that workout. This is the workout. You're going to do the workout. That workout's hard. The only way to make it easier is go slower, but that seems silly, right? Because you could, you know what I mean? Like you could
3 hours.
Yeah,
Is what
you
you
could
said.
do 3 hours. It's like, yeah, but come on, don't be silly.
One muscle up every 10
I know,
minutes.
like, don't be silly in the argument. Like, understand it. Like, you're going to go out there and
Yeah.
you're going to do the workout, and you're going to do it in a reasonable amount of time. You're going to put forth effort, even if you slog through it. But you're going to do the workout. You're not going to just be like, I'm going to do this in 3 hours and show you how easy it could be. It's like, well, now you're just trying to prove a point. You're like,
Right.
because numbnuts, you can do that.
Arguably, if you do one muscle up every 10 minutes, it might be harder because you'll cool down and then
Maybe. But my point is like you go out and do any workout. There's a lot of workouts that you can't change. They are hard.
Yeah.
They are very hard. And there are a lot of workouts that you can make even harder that don't need to be harder. And that happens too. So you have to be careful with that. So like we talked about people programming hard workouts to make people feel like they're getting good adaptations or they're getting good training. It's like, yeah, is 21, 15, 9 ring muscle up and squat clean appropriate for that person? Or are you just giving them something hard so then they come in, they train, they go, man, that was so good today. I just
I
got.
don't think that's appropriate for most people.
I mean, I could think of other workouts. That's just a really hard
Yeah,
workout that
yeah.
you can't change.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's something to be aware of too. Even as a participant of training, like just knowing that, like, yeah, you can make any workout really hard. That doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
and I know you see those lines on Instagram all the time. I just want to give an example of like what that actually means, right? Because like you can, let's see, lower focused.
That's his weird naming stuff is what he's saying.
Oh, well, I read all kinds of weird labels. Yeah, for like, anyways, yeah, I think that's important. But I do think the only thing that athletes need to really understand is the takeaway. If you've been with us for an hour and 18 minutes of understanding your training, if the workout is under 3 minutes or even the interval and you have enough rest to recover, you're just going hard. You're zone 5. You're going hard. Okay. If the workout is 10 minutes to like 15, maybe even 18 minutes, you're going medium, 7 to 8.5
Thanks so for that.
of intensity. Okay. If the workout is beyond 30 minutes, you're at a 60.
You're going hard.
No, you're 60, you're zone 2
Just
in it.
kidding. I'm kidding.
Go fast, take chances.
Yeah.
No, like if you just follow that basic breakdown.
Right.
Now, are you going to optimize your training and be like super fit and everything? Probably not. Like there's a huge range of things in there that you have to like look at. I'm going to share a thing with the folks here who stick around, and then someone's going to screenshot it and take it. But
I was like, you're gonna give that gold to the internet? All right.
very quickly. So this is how complex it can
Cody.
get. What's your heart rate? 4 beats under medium. I respect that. Here we go. We're going to flash it quick. Here's how complex it could get. And it should get this complex over time. Boom. Okay. There you go. Oh, it's not up. There it is. Boom. That's it. Look at all these machines. Look at all this heart rate data. Okay. Stop sharing. All right. You can't have it anymore. That's an athlete's breakdown of the machines. And it gives heart rate and pacing and RPE and specifically where those breakdowns are and what they should be at under those certain intensities. So then that way they can specifically train their biology with precision. And cyclists do this and runners do this. And they're the best runners. I'm not saying like, someone out there having a good time. I'm talking about people who genuinely want to reach the edges of their human performance, whether they're an elite person or a soccer mom who's just killing herself to train. Those are the people I'm talking about, that like you can get 80 to 90% of good quality training with a one-on-one coach by basically mindlessly doing the training as you obey it in the right order. You ask quality questions and you stick to the rule of thumb of 3 to 5 minutes, high intensity, 5 to 18 minutes, moderate to moderate high, not full high. And then, 24 plus minutes, give or take, zone 2, medium, easy intensities. You'll get a lot out of that. Beyond that, that's why I shared the little Google sheet of that athlete. Like that's how detailed you could get with every machine, every movement, every heart rate. And you got to go through a whole bunch of testing, training. Luckily, this person didn't have to do any of the testing. They have it from all of the training we've done and just built out basically the guide. So then that they can come in and give those efforts to watch themselves adapt. And then as they adapt and change, all those numbers will change. It's basically doing a 1RM back squat for your energy systems. And then using that same idea of how you increase your back squat on your energy system biology. So you can be fitter, faster, stronger, better. Pretty sick, people.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to make sure the structure is right. The stimulus matters, how people do things. And ultimately, I've been much better and I like it a lot. I'm going to keep trying as hard as I can to be a better communicator, be more interpersonal with people. Hopefully my athletes watch this and go, yeah, I really like it. I'm glad he does the Wednesday talks. That's all I got.
That was good.
Thank you, Tyler, Heather,
Yeah.
for always engaging and being part. Thank you, Tristan, for the quality questions and comments. What's weird is it says we have like one watcher, but we've had Cody and Tristan both comment in the time that we've had one like viewer. Strange.
That is strange.
Maybe Cody's right. Maybe 270 people are watching.
Maybe.
Let's see.
I mean, I know a lot of
He
people.
says, I want to know if she is using the formula I thought of.
The formula of 4 beats under medium.
Oh, that's what he's talking about.
I think
I was going to say, bro, you weren't even here for the talk on Saturday. Lol, it's just me. Oh, it's just Nate watching? Yeah, probably. Crazy. They're not even watching. They're just commenting. They're just like, I'm just going to keep commenting. All right, that's it for this video. Like and subscribe, share with your friends. Hopefully that was informative. Tried to give you guys examples, takeaways, talk about training. Yeah, that's it. Oh my God. I don't want to get into this with Cody. We'll see you guys later. Thanks a lot, Cody. You should be in here getting ready
He's
to
probably
coach,
driving
dude.
right now.
Yeah, you're going to crash. Don't do that.